voluntary separation. Now, they have until next Friday to decide whether they will accept the deal, which includes continued base pay and health care benefits for a designated time. Employees who accept the buyout will leave EWC at the end of the month. The center was expecting $28.6 million in federal funding, grants, and contracts, but the Trump administration's new policies prevented the release. We're told Hawaii's congressional delegation is still pushing for the funds to be released. Well, state sheriffs are looking for an inmate on the run. Officials say 38-year-old John Mahaulu did not return to OCCC from his work furlough yesterday. Mahaulu is 5'9", weighs about 270 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. He had been serving time for robbery and criminal property damage and now faces an escape charge. If you see him, please call 911 or the Sheriff's Division at the number on your screen. 3 men, 2 who are from Hawaii, have been charged with participating in a scheme to defraud the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs of over $9 million in education benefits, including funds from the post-9/11 GI Bill Education Benefit Program. Now, the Justice Department says 58-year-old Brian Matsudo was the owner of a massage therapy training school in Honolulu. From November 2016 to November 2022, authorities say he conspired with Marshall Scott of Kapolei and others to obtain tuition assistance payments from the VA by intentionally failing to disclose that Matsudo's school was not in compliance with VA rules. Another man, Raheem Wells of Indiana, allegedly helped recruit people who allowed them to lie to the VA by saying they were students enrolled in the school. Last month, Matsudo pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Scott and Wells faced the same charge along with 3 counts of wire fraud, and Wells was also charged with obstruction of justice for telling a witness to lie to federal agents. A legislative logjam will delay a new state program that uses cameras to catch speeding drivers. Daryl Huff explains how lawmakers missed a key deadline and how that affects citations.
Hopes that speed cameras spread throughout the state could reduce the rising rate of traffic fatalities ran into a roadblock when the State House just could not keep up with the volume of legislation coming in at the last minute. Because so many people were spotted speeding during a test phase, expansion of the speed and red light enforcement camera network depended on allowing state law enforcement officers, instead of just HPD, to issue the citations from the camera's pictures and radar data. The bill to do that hit its own stoplight.
So the bill that we had initially put in to ensure that we could get resourcing outside of HPD to help us with enforcing the speed and red light cams, unfortunately died.
I do want to dispel that it is not solely automatic, that there is this robot that does the citation and it goes automatically out. Everything is done by hand.
Although leaders agreed the plan was important, during the crush of legislation Friday evening, the House Finance Chair didn't issue approval for the spending and hiring in time for the 6:30 deadline.
There were a lot of big financial issues they had to deal with, and this bill got caught up in the processing.
Transportation Director Ed Sniffen says there is still money from citations to offer overtime to HPD officers. It won't be nearly enough to keep up, so only the worst speeders will get tickets beginning in October, and the cameras will remain where they are in Kalihi and Kaka'ako, with no installations in rural intersections for over a year.
So this year until next year summer, we'll have the 10 originals. Next year summer, we'll add another 10 on the system.
Lawmakers are philosophical about the setback.
There really is no, rush. I think trying to take it slow and cautiously and make sure it's done right is more important.
A bill that did pass makes it clear that speed camera tickets will not show up on anyone's driving record because the citation is issued to the car owner, not the driver.
The citation will not hurt their driving abstract, specifically for the purposes of insurance. And that was something that was very clear this session that needed to be addressed.
Another key to expanding the speed camera program is to automate the processing in court so that when the cameras extend out to rural areas, they won't overwhelm the country courthouses. Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Daryl. Let's take you live now to Kilauea, where it is quiet again after the volcano put on another dazzling show overnight. Check it out. This is what it looked like last night and much of the morning. Fountains erupted from the north vent at around 9:30 last night before going quiet at about 5:20 this morning. We're told the lava fountains hit about 330 feet high. That's a little bit taller than the Statue of Liberty. Now, this is now the 19th episode of the current eruption, which began back in December.
Well, happy Aloha Friday, everybody. Of course, with the eruption that was happening this morning, like you just saw, it is on pause for now. We've got trade winds in the forecast for the foreseeable future. They're looking to get relatively breezy by the time we get into the beginning of next week. But of course, a check at our first alert VOG forecast. Overall, the VOG plume going forward is expected to stay south of Maui County, south of Oahu, and south of Kauai, but still impacting areas just downwind of Kilauea. So impacting the entirety of the Kona coast of Hawaii Island. So still seeing a higher concentration of sulfur dioxide and the other fumes coming from the volcano. So that's going to be the story going forward. Of course, we are tracking those breezy trades over the next couple of days as well. A quick look at our first alert radar and satellite. Not much going on out there. Very sunny skies. That's expected to continue throughout the rest of the day. I'll give you a breakdown on this coming up.
Thank you, Drew. The passing of Prince David Clarence La'amea Kauai Kawananakoa was just announced today by the Kawananakoa family. Prince David was a direct descendant of Prince David Kawananakoa, heir to the Hawaiian Kingdom, and King Kauai, the last sovereign ruler of Kauai and Niihau. While he lived a very private life, he did serve as vice regent of Hale o Na'ali'i o Hawaii. Details of memorial services and public remembrances will be shared in the days ahead. And a reminder that a Celebration of Life event is being held for former State Representative Gene Ward this coming Monday at 10 a.m. at King's Chapel, East Oahu. Parking will be limited, so carpooling and rideshare are recommended. The ceremony will also be live streamed on Olelo TV and online. Well, the Vatican Fire Brigade has put up the famous chimney on the roof of the Sistine Chapel 5 days before cardinals gather for the conclave to choose the next pope. Chris Livesay has more from Rome.
Well, here in St. Peter's Square, that mood of mourning over the death of Pope Francis has shifted to one of excitement over who his successor is going to be. Now, you couldn't ask for a better vantage point than this one. Just over my shoulder, you can see the Sistine Chapel, where that white smoke is eventually going to come out announcing Habemus Papam. We have a pope.
It's fantastic. It's really historical, isn't it?
I love this country. I love Italy. I'm Italian myself.
The way it works is the cardinals, more than 130 of them from around the world, they write their votes on a piece of paper and then they're burned. And if there's a 2/3 consensus that's reached, well, then you've got the white smoke saying we have a pope. But if they don't reach that 2/3 consensus, it's black smoke. Now, typically, it's taken 2 or 3 days of voting in order to arrive at a pope. At least that's been the case for the last several papacies. But this conclave could take a little more time because there are so many cardinals from far-flung places around the world that Francis himself named in places like Mongolia and Papua New Guinea that we just don't know a lot about, and we don't know how they're going to vote. Some of them might even struggle to communicate with the other cardinals because their Italian might not be very good. So it may take longer than your typical conclave. And we might have a wild card, a candidate, so to speak, a pope that nobody saw coming. So there's a lot of guessing going on as to who the next pope is going to be. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Rome.
New federal numbers show unemployment remains steady despite the trade wars. I'm Bradley Blackburn with which industries are hiring and where there are some warning signs.
Also ahead on This Is Now, details on an effort to bring more family doctors to Hawaii's rural communities. We'll be right back. Welcome back. More family doctors are coming to Kauai. UH's medical school is expanding its family medicine residency program. JABSOM is launching the UH Kauai Family Medicine Residency Program in the 2026-27 academic year. Now, as many as 12 medical residents will be assigned to train at Wilcox Medical Center and at other clinics around the Garden Isle. It's an effort to increase the number of physicians serving Kauai. More than 80% of physicians trained in JABSOM's Family Medicine Residency Program stay to serve in Hawaii and in the broader Pacific. Well, the labor market is proving its resilience with a better than expected jobs report and unemployment holding steady. Bradley Blackburn takes a look at the numbers.
So far, the U.S. labor market appears to be fairly insulated from President Trump's ongoing trade wars. Employers added 177,000 jobs in April, and unemployment remains steady at 4.2%. But payrolls for the previous 2 months were revised downward by 58,000 jobs.
Sometimes we look at a revision as maybe an indication of what lies ahead.
Economists are still bracing for the full impact of the tariffs. Transportation and warehousing added 29,000 jobs last month, likely due to stockpiling before the tariffs took effect.
I think when you saw the surge of imports, we had to get them someplace. So that accounts for the increase in transportation and warehousing.
Federal worker Shay Ginorio of Overland Park, Kansas, got a pink slip last month.
It said effective June 2nd, but you will be placed on immediate leave.
But because the Labor Department does not count administrative leaves, terminations like hers are not reflected in the report. She visited a job fair just hours after her ouster.
I need to figure out what I'm going to do, sell all my things, and get out of here.
Analysts say hiring is tepid in areas like media, finance, and tech. And the president's tariffs could affect graduating college seniors looking for jobs.
So a lot of companies have pressed pause. What that means is they are waiting to see how the tariff situation is going to impact their hiring.
According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, hiring expectations have dropped from the fall survey. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And stick around, your first alert full forecast is coming up. Trade winds and sunny skies expected throughout the majority of next week.
First alert weather. with Drew Davis.
Well, happy Aloha Friday, everybody. You made it to the weekend. Here's a quick look at our first alert weather headlines. Really, we're tracking this all the way into next week. Trade winds and sunny skies. We may see a little bit more cloud cover at the beginning of next week, but a lot of sunshine is expected throughout the weekend. Here's a look at our hour-by-hour forecast. Outside we go. We're in the green, seeing fair weather throughout the rest of this evening and also this afternoon. And just taking a look out towards the reef runway. It is beautiful out there right now. A little bit warm. Easterlies around 17 miles per hour. Expanding this into the early morning hours, will be around 86, 85 degrees for high temperatures in town this afternoon, getting into the mid 70s for lows tonight. And just a quick look at our first alert windcast going forward into this afternoon and Saturday afternoon. Overall east and northeasterly flow expected. And sustained winds between 15 to 20 miles per hour. Very similar story for Sunday afternoon as well. And just a quick look at our first alert radar and satellite. Outside we go, not much going on out there. You can take a look over Oahu, maybe a few sprinkles along the Ko'olau, but not much going on. Maybe some rain over near Hana, but very short-lived showers, and also some cloud cover over near Kailua Kona and near Ocean View as well. And a quick look at the Garden Isle. I want to point out that we're not seeing rain south of Kauai. This is wind returns. I like to point this out because it's a little bit fuzzy on the radar, but sea salt and sea spray is getting lofted up by these breezy trades. Is actually getting picked up high enough in the atmosphere to be picked up by the radar. A quick look at our first alert futurecast as well. Very similar story all the way into Saturday and Sunday. If any showers, we're going to be seeing them overnight to the early morning hours, really before the sun comes up, and we'll be drying out throughout each afternoon. And like I said, a little bit more cloud cover as we're starting out next week. This is around 12 p.m. on Monday, so it could be a little bit cloudy as we're starting out the beginning of the next work week. Surf and shoreline forecast. North and west facing shores are slowly dropping out there. We're still seeing that south-southwest swell on in town around 4 to 6 feet. East facing shores are rising because of the breezy trades. And this forecast again is for this afternoon. And you can see that swell moving off towards the southeast. We might see a little bit of a boost as we start out next week for north and west facing shores. One more look at your first alert VOG forecast. Again, the overall VOG plume is going to be staying off to the south and southwest of the island chain, not really impacting Maui County, Oahu, or Kauai, but areas just downwind of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, especially because the eruption just paused. A lot of that VOG and volcanic fumes are in the atmosphere. Breezy trades out there as we're starting out the weekend. Going to get even breezier as we're going into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and going to be warm going forward.
Thanks, Drew. Well, still to come, a growing Jiu-Jitsu academy in Aiea is more than just a gym. Casey Lund shows us how it's become a safe space for students to push themselves to new heights. it started in the corner of a Pearl City gym. Now it's a full-blown academy.
Roots Jiu-Jitsu is turning everyday students into serious competitors, but as Casey Lund explains, there's more to their story.
Happy Aloha Friday from Roots Jiu-Jitsu in Aiea. Like you said, this started very humbly in a garage, actually. I'm going to let the man himself tell the story. Joey Jordan is with us today. Joey, mahalo for being here. This is such a great space you've created. We spent the whole day here. Some of the people that train here that have been with you for a long time say nothing but great things. Tell me a little bit about how you guys got started and kind of the dream that you've built that we see here now.
Yeah, I started Jiu-Jitsu in 1997. And just went up to the ranks, and then COVID hit in 2019, and it shut all our functions and our jiu-jitsu schools down. So I was left with just garage training with close friends and close family, and I was offered a position to go teach a jiu-jitsu class down the road at the Mango Tree. Yeah. So I took the job, and we definitely grew over just a short amount of time, and it was time to get our own independent place.
I love that. And now creating a space for families. Also, you're still happy to train, work with people that want to be competitive, right? But what kind of sets you apart? What are you trying to build here?
Just a sense of community. If you have something to offer the community, I want the Jiu-Jitsu community to extend their welcome to people maybe want to change their lifestyle, maybe get into better shape. You don't have to be a competitor. You can just be a normal Joe.
Last question, Joey, I want to ask you. Saturday, you have a grand opening. You want people to come down. And what would you say to people that maybe just want to check you out? You have Open Mat Friday, right?
Yeah, we have open mats on Friday nights at 6:30. Come down, check us out. Or we're on Instagram at RootsBJJ Hawaii. Or you can text me, 808-330-2857. And feel free to ask any questions, and we're here to answer anything that you want.
I love that. We want to give a big shout out to Victory Aiea Church, Pastor Dane, who came down here. He uses this space on Sundays. I also want to mahalo Day by Day Jiu-Jitsu for this awesome gi, by the way. I'm a white belt, right? I'm starting there. How do I get to where you are, my friend?
Oh, you just keep showing up. Just keep showing up.
Couple years? No, we're talking like 15, right?
I mean, it's a good amount of time, but the main thing I can say is just keep showing up. Just show up.
Joey, thank you so much for welcoming us into your space, for telling your story. I know that you work nights, so you come back and put these classes on, work with kids, adults, build confidence, self-defense, all kinds of things. Joey, appreciate you again, man.
Thank you so much.
All the information, by the way, if you want to check out their grand opening happening tomorrow, or just learn more about the art of Jiu-Jitsu itself, all online at HawaiiNewsNow.com. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Oh, Casey, young grasshopper.
Yeah, he looks like he had so much fun.
Yeah.
Just the way he was talking.
He's going to be wearing that gi this weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Aloha Friday. More news first at 4 right here on KHNL.